Oh man, LDWMMAC. It is your boy Coach Sheldon Harrison. You're live on the Coach Sheldon Harrison Combat Sports Show live. Okay, guys. So we got Claressa Shields running around here, and she said that by September 2020, she said that she will be ready to, step into her first MMA bout. And of course, Scott Coker pretty much said, "When you're ready, I got you." So Scott Coker has pretty much already said Claressa got a bag when she get over there. Um, that's interesting, okay? Scott Coker is all over this right now. He's all over this. And Scott Coker, he was the one that brought Heather Hardy in. He brought him in, the Serrano in. He brought these people in, and Heather Hardy probably didn't turn out as well. Amanda Serrano actually is doing well in mixed martial arts. And Claressa Shields believes that, hey, I'm a top level athlete, and I can learn the wrestling, and I can learn jiu-jitsu, and I can learn enough of it in a year to go in there and beat other world caliber athletes who've been doing the sport since they were teenagers. This girl delusional, and I'm talking about she's a mere con delusional and very naive. It's going to take Claressa Shields quite a bit of time to learn the other aspects of MMA. It's going to take her at least for the most part, wrestling, okay? If you can wrestle, your chances in MMA are a lot better than if you can't wrestle, okay? At least for the most part, she definitely needs to have some wrestling and jiu-jitsu, The only thing of it is, though, if you have the wrestling, you'll probably be able to wrestle, but you won't be able to do many submissions. And, Claressa, she's not really thinking about what she got to learn. See, she's saying that there's more money in MMA. Well, for her, to be honest, on average, women's MMA fighters make more money. But Claressa Shields was actually stepping into the echelon of making those big paydays. She was getting there. But the whole, debacle that went down with James Ali Bashir, with, her brother sucker punching the guy, I told y'all. But anyway, that's neither here nor there, okay? The brother, sucker punching James Ali Bashir. Claressa Shields lost out on, $350,000. What, probably, after everything's done and after everything's finalized, probably about $500,000 Claressa Shields lost out on. And of course, Claressa, running around here saying, well, how you think I feel? I lost $350,000. I lost it. Well, yeah, you lost it because your brother, because your brother decided to go punch somebody in the back of the head, an old man, and that's what it is. But I think Claressa was on her way to making the big dollars in boxing. I think she was on her way. And I think she was going to be one out of a million female boxers to come into the sport to actually start commanding those kind of paydays. But she ruined it. So in MMA, I think Scott Coker will give her a bag. But I think that Claressa, I think she's very naive in what could happen in a mixed martial arts match. Like, I think she's looking at it, and she's looking at it like, okay, these people, they can't box, they can't do this, they can't do this. Ooh, I would have did this. Ooh, I would have did this. Yeah, well, in an octagon, in a boxing ring, things just work out just differently. And Claressa, she'll be the one, she'll see that. Because when she get in there, she gonna try to do some of that boxing, some of the boxing nuances, and it's not gonna work. No matter what she do, and then if she try to revert back to those wide stances, I mean, in Amanda Serrano first MMA bout, she got kicked in the leg. She got a leg kick. She accidentally reverted back to a boxing stance in the octagon, and that didn't work. She got kicked. And Claressa gonna have to learn how to actually, decrease the stance. And also, when you pull your stance back, you can't sit down on your punches as hard as you want to as you can in boxing. Like, there are a lot of different things. She got to learn how to defend the submissions. She got to learn that. Because, her opponents, they're not going to stand there with her. They're not going to strike with her. That's like when Jarena Jojo Bars. When Jarena Jojo Bars went into MMA, she had, 3 bouts in MMA. And, nobody would stand with Jarena. They wouldn't stand with her. They kept taking her down. And rightly so. That's what you're supposed to do. They kept taking her to the ground like, they ain't finna stand there and get kicked in the head or, beat up by Jarena Bars. Nah. So they took her down. And that's what they're going to do to Claressa. Nobody's going to stand with her, man. And, she got to understand, you got to learn takedown defense. Like, there's so much, man. And, hell, Jermaine Durand may have been doing MMA for a minute. And it took her a while to get her takedown defense as good as it is. Claressa Shields, man, I think she's a bit she's delusional. She's very delusional. And I think that, If she does do it, she'll get the bag, but Claressa gonna get in here and she's gonna get her ass whooped. That's what's gonna happen to Claressa. She's gonna get in there and she's gonna get beat down. It's gonna take her years. And I'm not saying that Claressa Shields can never do MMA. I'm not saying that. But it's something that you gotta discipline. You gotta discipline. And that thing, MMA, is intense. And you gotta be disciplined enough to work the other disciplines within MMA. You can't just work one part of it, the striking, and then think, oh, I can step into an octagon, I can strike. Nah, man. You got to work the wrestling. Like, you got to find coaches for all that stuff, man. MMA, it's not a joke. You got to find coaches. You got to find jiu-jitsu coaches. You got to find sparring partners for one thing, because some of your sparring partners, they can't strike very well, okay? And some of them, you got to find people who can strike, people who can wrestle, people who know jiu-jitsu. Like, you got to, MMA is complex. Don't let nobody tell you that you can just walk into a gym and everything gonna fall into place. Nah, man. MMA is very complex. It's a very hard thing to do, and it's very hard to master. And you still got people like Rose Namajunas that they'll tell you they still ain't mastered. They've been doing MMA for years and they still ain't mastered it. People like Valentina, they'll tell you that they still stuff they need to fix. Like this, Claressa is gonna be in over her head. And watch what I tell y'all. She gonna be in over her head. She gonna jump in there. And they'll put her in there against somebody that they think that she's supposed to beat. And she'll get in there and get her ass whooped. That's what's going to happen, guys. That's my prediction, I think, in 2020. And then, she be talking about Nunes, and she be talking about Cyborg. And no, you're not beating Amanda Nunes. You're not going to beat Chris Cyborg in an octagon, Claressa. But she was running around here saying that stupid stuff. You're not going to beat those guys. You're not beating them in an octagon. Like, what planet does she live on where she think that she gonna beat them in an octagon, something they've been doing most of their adult lives and most of their teenage lives? Claressa, I don't know about this one. I think if you're gonna do MMA, then you need to be all in. And I mean all in. But if not, you can box and you still can get a payday there. Maybe.